If you're looking for a creature that's the stuff of nightmares, the Manananggal would come pretty high up that list. Imagine a creature that tears itself in half. It sprouts wings and it takes flight, leaving its legs standing alone in the darkness. It hunts through the night with its internal organs hanging beneath it, searching for sleeping victims. So what is the Manananggal? How do you survive its attack? And what's a baby chick got to do with this myth? Welcome to the mysteries of mythology, the Manananggal. The Manananggal originates from the Visayas Islands in the Philippines and comes from the Aswang group of creatures, which is just an umbrella name for shape-shifting entities like demons, witches, ghouls and vampires. What's interesting about this creature is how she shifts her shape. When the sun sets, she sprouts a pair of bat-like wings, her fingers becoming claws, her teeth grow into fangs, and most importantly, her torso splits in half from her lower body, intestines hanging out all over the place. The Manananggal name is thought to come from the word tanggal in the Tagalog language, which means to remove or to separate. In banana groves, she hides her severed lower half among the trunks, which in the dark can easily be mistaken for human legs. But if you ever spot them, don't get too close, unless you're carrying one of these three things that I'll mention later. As the Manananggal flies through the darkness, with her intestines trailing below her like grotesque ribbons, she's looking for specific victims, and her favourite are pregnant women. When she finds a house with a sleeping victim inside, she lands on the roof. Then she extends her tongue, long, thin and tubular like a trunk. It's razor sharp and hollow, designed for one purpose. She slides it through cracks in the roof or a window, down to the sleeping woman below. The tongue punches the victim's womb and begins to feed, sucking out the unborn fetus. This is truly a gross and disturbing creature. During the day, she's usually a beautiful woman living a normal life in a community, sometimes even married. She uses her beauty to seduce men, luring them to isolated places. Then she reveals her true form and devours them alive, preferring their hearts, livers and stomachs. When she hunts, you'll hear a distinct ticking sound. And to confuse her victims, she adopts a trick. The quieter the sound, the closer she actually is, confusing her victims and making them feel safe when they're in the most danger. Some say you will get a warning before she even arrives. Folklore tells of black cats or crows appearing near the house, a sign that the Manananggal is close. Some say that one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself is to leave a like or a comment below. It's probably worth a try. Unlike Western vampires, who are born as vampires or infected by a bite, the creation of a Manananggal is very unique. The Manananggal's origin is as strange as the creature itself. Inside every Manananggal lives a small black chick. When a Manananggal is dying, it coughs up this chick and passes it to another person, usually a relative. In some stories, it isn't passed so willingly. A woman who eats a baby black chick coughed up by another Manananggal is cursed to transform into one herself. The victim swallows the bird, often without knowing. The chick then lives inside them, feeding on their internal organs while keeping them alive. It creates an endless hunger that can only be satisfied by hunting. This parasite chick is what drives the transformation, but if you catch it early enough, before it matures, there's hope for the victim. The curse can be broken by hanging the infected person upside down and beating them like a piñata, or swinging them violently until they vomit up the bird. Some other versions say that surviving a Manananggal bite turns you into one like a werewolf's bite. So what would you do if you needed to fight one? If you haven't found its lower half, then a bamboo spear through its back or a stingray tail on the end of a whip can kill them. If you don't want to see them at all in the first place, salt, garlic, ash, vinegar, and uncooked rice keeps them away. Spreading these around your home prevents them from landing on your roof. But if you're looking for the most effective method, find the lower half of their body while they're hunting. If you rub salt, ash, or garlic into the open wound where its torso is separated, the creature can't reattach. And when dawn comes, the sunlight will destroy the helpless upper half. There's evidence that the Manananggal has long been in Filipino history, but in the 16th century, something happened that made it far more prevalent. Before the Spanish arrived in 1521, Filipino society looked very different, especially for women. Women held real power. They served as shamans and as priestesses, leading religious ceremonies and offerings to ancestors. They worked as mediums who could predict the future by reading signs in nature and interpreting dreams. They were the keepers of history, passing down their myths and stories that shaped their culture's values. Women also served as healers and herbalists, using plants to cure diseases. They worked as midwives, bringing new life into the world. These weren't just jobs, they were positions of respect and authority. The society itself was more equal. Both men and women could inherit property and pass it down family names. Divorce was acceptable and could be started by either spouse. While extramarital affairs were frowned upon for women, pre-colonial Filipinos didn't place the same emphasis on chastity that would come later. Sexuality wasn't seen as shameful, it was simply a part of life. In 1521, Spanish colonizers arrived in the Philippines. They promoted Christianity and sometimes enforced it violently. The Spanish had a very specific idea about women. Women should be modest, they should be chaste. Their only purpose for sexuality was to make babies within marriage. Any sexual activity outside of marriage was sinful. Well, at least it was for women. They thought that women shouldn't hold religious power, as that belonged to male priests. The shamans, priestesses, and mediums who led ceremonies were recast as witches. The herbalists and the healers who cured the sick became dangerous practitioners of dark magic, and midwives who brought life into the world became the Manananggal. Where once these holy women brought life into the world, the Manananggal destroyed life, especially life before birth. It's just a theory, but even the creature separation kind of makes sense. By detaching from its lower body, it symbolically removes itself from its reproductive organs, from its sexuality and womb. And if you remember the black chick, the creature is created by swallowing a baby bird. Filipinos have eaten balut, fertilized duck eggs, for generations. It's always been controversial, with some saying that eating balut makes a person like an Aswang. Interestingly, balut is traditionally eaten with salt, vinegar and spices, the exact same items that repel the Manananggal. The monster might not just be a scary story. It could have been a weapon of colonization, transforming powerful women into nightmares. But the Manananggal wasn't just an ancient story. People still fear them today. The fear of the Manananggal changed how people lived. In rural areas, homes were built differently. Roofs became steeper to prevent the creature from perching, Windows were placed strategically to make it harder for the tongue to reach inside. Parents made their children sleep between them or in the center of the room for protection. The Manananggal didn't just shape daily life, it became part of Filipino cultural identity. In 1927, a pioneer filmmaker, Jose Nepomuceno, created A Manananggal, bringing the creature to cinema for the first time. The film is now lost, but the monster kept appearing in Filipino movies throughout the decades. Today, the Manananggal is experiencing a revival. The award-winning comic series Trese features a gang war between the Aswang and the Manananggal clans. Netflix adopted it into an animated series, introducing the creature to a global audience. Filipino creators are reclaiming the Manananggal, transforming it into a tool of colonial oppression into a symbol of their own storytelling traditions. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'm Eddie, and if you want to see another horrific creature that has a real-life effect on modern Asia, then watch the Kuchisaka Onna video next.